Alright, hello. So basically this video is just going to be a guide for SCONE Revamp right here. I have about 12 hours on it, but I was trying to beat it. I got to floor 12 outside and then I failed it, and I just can't stand playing it anymore. But I would really like to see it get verified, so I'm going to be dropping all of the strats I learned on it, and yeah. Alright, so a lot of the gameplay is like very linear, so I'm not gonna just go through the whole entire citadel because it's over an hour long. So I'm kind of just gonna like no clip around, and whenever I see a jump that like I have like a specific strat for, I'm gonna just show it. Probably the first jump that requires any sort of strat, like I would recommend jumping a little bit wide here, because if you jump from like close, I feel like, I don't know, it's a little bit tighter. This part right here is a bit challenging. I would recommend jumping in first person and just doing a turn like that. I would also recommend doing this jump in first person. But this ladder can be like pretty hard to grab, so definitely practice it a lot. And then use downward momentum. This jump I would do in third person, but yeah, like one-step ladders like this are just kind of hard in general, but there's a lot of them in this citadel, so you need to get used to it for sure. Let's see. Where does this part? Oh, up here, right. For this jump right here, I would climb all the way up to the top, turn like this, and then downward momentum in ghost mode, like that. And then once you jump, go into first person and then grab this ladder. For this jump, I recommend lodging because it is quite precise. Like if you see here. I don't know why I tried to go back to my last checkpoint there. Why did I do it again? Okay, I'll just set a checkpoint here then. Like, you can definitely do it, but it's like a very precise, tight jump. However, if you lodge, you have like a lot of room to spare, as you can see. You also have to lodge this one. I don't even think it's possible to do without lodge. Yeah, no. I would not recommend doing it in first person like that, though. This truss turn right here, you just want to get like as close to the edge as you can, and then you don't want to be facing like 90 degrees, but like kind of like this, and then just hit D and shift and you'll go in like that. And then after that I would recommend doing a lodge here so that you can make it to there, because without lodge it's extremely precise. And I would recommend for these wedges go about like this high up and then jump at around this angle without shift lock like that. Same thing here. You do want to beware of the roof here though, so don't go too high. Right here, just do something like that. It's very consistent. Beware of ladder drops right here. They definitely can happen. Happened to me probably at least like 5 to 10 times. I'm gonna try to get it to happen right here. It's not like a frequent thing, but it will happen to you if you play this, so beware. You can also get bounced off of this spinner, like as you can see how I almost fell off there. So definitely be careful of that. This part, you just slowly fall down, you just need to control your camera. This jump, you definitely want to lodge here, because that's a very long jump. recommend grabbing this ledge like this and then just flicking up, personally, instead of trying to do something like that. Or I'm pretty sure you can also just do that if you really want to, but it's whatever. Keep in mind, this part is not netted, unlike it is in EToH XL SCONE. For this jump, I would just climb down like this, and then just jump off. This spinner, I can't really explain it. You just kind of have to watch what I do. The spinners in this citadel are super hard, but they actually do get consistent. And when you get here, you can just jump straight to the elevator. You don't have to do that other jump. Now be careful, this is an insta-kill. In EToH XL, that's a teleporter. Let's see, this floor. The first strat I have, this wrap is really precise, so I'd recommend doing something like that. This jump, I would recommend jumping like this, because it is also very precise. For this, you want to grab here, turn 90 degrees fast, and then once you get there on here, just turn again. This is just a hard wrap, you'll probably fail it. This wrap is also really hard. Just take it wide so that you don't accidentally get stuck on the corners. I would recommend doing this jump right here, like that. You can also do it like that, but I personally find this way most these jumps right here are pretty hard. You definitely want to watch out for this one. I'd recommend doing that. Get past those jumps, you're basically on floor 4, which most of the gameplay on floor 4 is really easy, like really easy, but there's just a few jumps you definitely want to watch out for. Like this one right here. I would align myself on this corner right here, and then treat it like a long jump. But then once you get past this wall right here, jump down here for that jump. And this is all pretty easy. For this jump right here, hit your head like that, so you can also climb down and do something like that. It's really okay. The infamous lodge. Honestly, they're really not that bad. You just want to get as far onto the ladder as you can. Just click, lodge. Just hold W and A and turn your camera a little bit to the right until you get to the back here. And then just turn facing the ladder and just hold W and A. Don't underestimate it. It's really not that hard, but you can definitely fail it. Here's the second launch. This one's actually a little further, I'm pretty sure. Basically the same strat though. Except you want to go this way. For this jump right here, I would just ledge grab like that. Set until you get to floor 5, which is, in my opinion, the hardest floor in the entire citadel. Let's see, for this jump you're going to want to lodge. However, if you fail this section, you can just do this. Jump up to there. hit your head when you do this ladder flick, that's just normal and you kind of just have to live with it. So just time your jump accordingly. I honestly don't know the best strat for this. Like, I usually do this, but I could probably see something like that being better, I'm not gonna lie. But you do want to do something similar to that. Okay. For this part, it's pretty simple. Just turn 190 degrees with alignment keys, and then alignment here help like this, and then just go across. That jump is pretty precise, but if you fall in here, you can just flip out. It's not a big deal. And then once you go out, this jump's a little too high, so you just have to redo this outside section. Yeah, do it right here. I would recommend doing that in first person. Okay, this jump is honestly the hardest jump in the entire Citadel. I still don't have a consistent strat for it. Honestly, yeah. I guess something like that would be good. Like, kind of just, yeah, I don't know. However, you can just skip it by coming over here whenever you fail it. Which you can also, once you get right here, you can also just run over here and do that skip too if you want to. This ladder flick, don't underestimate it, it's very precise. So you can actually jump on this elevator, but if you do, you'll hit your head. So my strat is actually to hold jump until you're just about to go, and then let go. Because if you don't do that, you can also kind of get like weird bounce physics and kind of get slowed down. Okay, I recommend doing this in ghost mode like this. Go forward and go into first person, and then turn yourself into back. Here, you just want to go right here, and then just it's pretty self-explanatory. This right here is a really hard jump. Now, if you try to do it the way you think you should, you'll probably fail. You can land it like that, but I would highly advise that you take the wrap like extra wide like that. I'm not sure why it works, but if you take the wrap wider, you just land it more consistent. Like, I don't know. I genuinely couldn't tell you why it's more consistent, but it is. Okay. This jump right here, just go right here, wrap. Make sure you don't bounce off the edge there. This spinner, probably the hardest section of the Citadel. Keep in mind, if you fall here, no net. Unlike an EToH XL, you're just cooked. If the spinner goes past you, you can just respawn it by jumping like that. Honestly, I don't really know how to explain my strats for this spinner too well. Lower your FPS for this truss part. Otherwise, you might end up having something like this happen. Or, yeah, just lower your FPS. I would recommend wrapping around there. An alternative strategy, you can do like a head hitter there, but that's really not consistent, so I would recommend doing that. I would recommend coming all the way around to here instead of doing this, because it's just a lot easier to do this. For this jump right here, you want to wrap like a lot faster than you think you do, because if you try to jump like that, you'll hit the wall. But if you wrap like really fast, then you'll just go straight to the platform. This jump sucks. basically the best way to do it, jump in, lodge like this, and then you want to slowly with W and A go across until you get pretty low, and then holding W facing like this, just go into first person. For this jump right here, don't go around to this side or else you'll get pushed off. Stay right here and then flick. Same thing with that one jump earlier. You want to wrap like kind of faster than you think you want to. And these jumps are all pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Jump from like pretty high up to here. Then you can just like either walk off onto that part or jump. However, just make sure that you're like kind of lower on this platform. Then jump to here. You might be able to do something to like skip this jump, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then just get as close to the edge as you can and flick like that. Be careful because you can easily fall off like that. What I usually do in my runs, I'll usually just go like this, and then just flick as fast as I can. Okay, this part is really weird. What you're gonna want to do is just get onto this edge and just hold D, and you'll land perfectly on that platform. And then this jump right here, get onto the edge so you avoid that. Those things can collide true, so watch out for them. Just get onto this edge and then just do a head hitter. This frickin' thing has killed me so many times. If you try to walk across it like this, it will work, but like sometimes it'll just fall off. Like that. I don't even know why I failed it so many times. Like it's working right now. But like the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to turn yourself a little bit that way when you're walking across it. I find that helps make sure you don't fall off of it. And the rest of the spinner is pretty easy. Just lodge, yada yada yada, and you're all good. Now make sure that you jump on this side of the pole, not this side, because the jump is actually a lot harder if you jump on this side. Okay. This dropper part is not too bad, however it is insta-kill, so be careful. There's a few jumps you will need to be aware of though, like this one for example. My strat is to go like right here, turn, and then jump out like that, and then once you go far enough out, you just want to turn back in like that. In this part, you fall down. Just be careful. I've never failed this part, this elevator part, but it's insta-kill. Okay. Now, actually, this part right here used to be a ladder. But I got ladder drops on it like twice, and then I actually asked the creators of it to make it into a trust, and they did, which is pretty nice. So the Citadel actually is more consistent now, thanks to me. Okay, this jump. Now, if you fall on this floor, you get teleported back to the start of the dropper, so you don't lose all your progress, but yeah. This is the only hard jump on this floor. The way that I do it, I treat these two studs right here like they're a wall, and then just treat it like a wrap around it. And then the rest of the floor is just a healing simulator. There's really nothing to watch out for except for, I guess, like when you're here, just like don't fall in that hole. Okay. Here's the trap floor, I guess. Just follow my route. It's really easy gameplay. This part is a soft log. Now if you come over to this wall, you can lap flip through it if you really want to, but I wouldn't do that because, you know, if you're trying to verify this shit, you should not do something like that. Okay, this part, you just gotta memorize. I mean, it's not really memory because the non-see-through platforms are real, the see-through ones aren't. Except when you get to this part, they swap it to be funny. The see-through ones are hand-collide true, these ones are hand-collide false. You will probably hit your head here, that's okay. All of this is really easy. Just use alignment keys and you're all set. Now this floor is very long and has the second dropper. Once you get further into the citadel, the jumps definitely become a lot more complex. Now if you want to skip this little part here, you can jump straight to this ladder, but I'll show you this part anyways. You just turn around, flick up, and now you're on that ladder. Now this jump, it's really far. What I would recommend doing, get onto the ladder, turn yourself a little bit, and then hit W a couple times to distance yourself. And then do a really fast downward momentum jump. Preferably hit shift so that you're facing towards the platform. Now be careful, if you do this wrap too tight or too like wide, you can fall through that gap there. Or not too wide, too narrow, I guess. I don't really need to show these jumps. None of these parts are actual soft locks, but here, I'll just show you how to escape them if you do fall. You can jump up there, you can jump up here. Now, you do take a lot of damage when you're in this pit, so you don't have much time to escape. This jump, I would make sure that you're like low down before you do it though, because it is a low roof. Take that wrap very wide. If you fall here, you can either do a high jump off the wall like this and grab this ledge, or if you fall right here, you can flick up to this ladder. Okay. This is when the dropper starts. So this is probably the only like hard jump in this dropper. I would recommend setting up like this, turn like that, and then just jump out and grab the truss. Okay, what am I doing? We can just skip all this, not gonna lie. Be careful here. I'm pretty sure that's an insta-kill, yeah. I've never died to that insta-kill, but I would not be surprised if somebody does. This part, if you fail, you get teleported back to over here. Really the only jump that's like failable in this section though, or there's like two of them. there's this high jump. You can just not get enough height and then fail. And then there's this jump where you have to jump onto this right here and jump up to there. That was a weird strat. Hold on. I would recommend just doing something like that. Then you just jump up here, do some walkarounds, and then you're on this part. This truss is a trap, so be careful. For this jump, I would recommend just sitting up like this, and then just jumping. See this jump, watch out for the head hitter, or the whatever, yeah. Jump into this one stud gap, yada yada, don't jump backwards. Jump into the one stud gap, and then turn yourself around. There. Okay. This jump right here, definitely failable. I would make sure you have at least 3 studs of headspace there. Then use alignment keys and jump like that. However, make sure you don't go too far down. Like, I would say minimum of 3 studs, maximum of like 4 studs. Okay, I would recommend trying to stay low on this ladder so that you can flick up like that. And then you can do that, or if you want, you can also just do that. Okay. And then once you get over to here, you jump back onto the truss. And then these jumps are all pretty easy, except for this one. You definitely want to be careful because you can turn too early or too late and then get pushed out. And then if you fall, insta-kill. These jumps are all pretty easy except for this one. I would recommend sitting up kind of like this and then just jumping straight to the ladder. Grab it on the corner. The end of this floor is failable. Oh yeah, this jump, set up like this and then grab onto the corner like that. And then once you get to this side, just flick onto here. Alright, this floor, I wouldn't say it's harder than 5, but it's one of the hardest floors for sure. These jumps are all pretty easy. So this one, you gotta flick in, get into that gap right there, and then get like pretty far out and jump like that. Jump pretty easy, and then you get to this. This is a 12.5 stud non-climbable jump. Really not a strat for it, just be on high FPS and pray. Now if you fail the jump, you can catch yourself right here, and then you'll just have to redo the end of 6 and then you'll be okay. But yeah, just there really isn't a super consistent way to do it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, just jump and hope for the best, I guess. Same thing as that jump at the end of the second dropper. This wrap, I highly recommend doing backwards. Otherwise, you might accidentally, like, just do it wrong. Yeah. Do it backwards. Do not underestimate this jump. It's a lot tighter than it looks. These jumps right here, do them in first person. Pretty easy. I would do a ledge climb here. Because you do have to dodge this pole. Don't do that. this, but don't try to climb this ladder, you don't need to. Okay, this part is insta-kill. So you will need to be careful here. So for this jump, you want to get like probably about midway through, and then just like jump out with shift. These jumps are all easy. This jump, you want to jump like a normal long jump, except hit shift late so that you don't hit the repas early. Whereas if you go like this, that, and that. This jump, it's just camera control. Sometimes you'll get stuck against the wall and just like not make it, but even if you do fail it, you'll land right here. These jumps right here, just do them in first person, they're not that hard. Okay, this jump, it looks really intimidating, and it kind of is, because if you fail it, you go all the way back here, which actually, that reminds me, if you do fall on top of here, this might take a while. Let me push it along. There we go. If you do fall on top of here, you can skip almost the entire spinner by just waiting for this part. I have had to use that before, so I would highly recommend it. But yeah, this jump, it's not as hard as it looks. It's really just about being confident. Like as you can see, there's like, you can do the jump without even needing to grab this truss. Like the trusses are just extra in case you mess up. Don't do that backwards. I should probably be a better example. Okay, this floor is really, really painful. I'm not gonna lie. You're definitely gonna need to strat it. This jump right here, I would recommend climbing this like a ladder and then flicking up. Make sure you're at a high HP before you do this, because as you can see I lost like 50 health when I did that jump. For this jump, just jump against the wall and you'll end up right on the bottom of the truss, which is the perfect height for you to just do a bottom flip. This jump right here is really, really hard. I failed it like 2 or 3 times. Just make sure that you're at the right part of the truss and just, yeah. Now you're supposed to jump to here and then do that jump, but it's honestly easier to do the jump from there. So just do that. Jump right in there. Jump to this instead of first person. Not like that. But if you try to do it third person, you'll either have to do something like that. Or like it's just awkward to do it in third person. It's all pretty self-explanatory. For this jump, I would recommend setting up right about here. This is the only wall hop in the entire tower, or the entire citadel, which is kind of funny, considering it's based on stone. Basically, wall hop right here, and then once you are ready to go, turn like that, and then just hold an A and then jump at the end like that. So, wall hop, turn, hold A, jump. This jump, I would recommend doing first person backwards like that. I just jump kind of the bottom so you don't get screwed by that. Jump like that and then just turn. I'll jump like that. There's a little skip you can do. If you go under that truss, you can skip to here, which skips to this section right here. However, none of this gameplay is really that hard, so it's up to you whether you want to use the skip. It may look like you'll hit your head here, but you won't. So just do it like that. For this jump, set it up backwards on the very corner there, and just jump straight to the truss. Make sure that you jump to the ladder on this side, so that if you fail, you can catch yourself right here. If you do it on this side, you're just screwed. Okay, this floor. I hate how there's a lot of floors in this citadel that just have no music. Let's see. Start of the floor, pretty easy. This part, it's hard to see where you're going. And if you fail, that happens, so be careful. But I'll just go ahead and play through the gameplay real quick so you can see it. It's not like hard gameplay, it's just, okay, what am I doing? Alright, and time for the dumbest, like, crap ever. So, first of all, just jump like that. You might hit your head, but you'll probably still be fine anyways. You can also climb down if you want. Either way is probably fine, but yeah. This jump is bullshit. It took me so long to strat this jump, but I have a jump that's like actually pretty consistent, so don't worry. So make sure that you're like really close to, no, you don't want to be like on the edge of the truss, but like pretty close. And then you're going to make sure you want to be on 90 FPS or lower. Align yourself like this with this part of the truss. And then you're going to want to turn yourself so that the middle of your cursor, or like your cursor is like aligned with this corner. Well, you want to be, and you also want to be about 1.5 studs from the ceiling. And then you want to jump with downwards momentum, and when you jump, make sure that you turn to be facing like about that direction so that you can grab the truss a little bit easier, like this. Don't be surprised if you fail that jump. However, if you do fail it, you will, the best place you can catch yourself is right here, so you will have to redo quite a bit of gameplay. This gameplay, pretty easy. Now for this jump. These are not actually can collide true, so you can actually do a ledge grab, which makes this jump like 5 times easier than it would be doing it like that. As you can see, I had like room to spare in terms of how high I was. Watch out for this roof here. Do this wrap in first person, and then for this jump, climb down a little bit because you do need quite a bit of height to grab this ladder. That wrap is kind of tight, so definitely be careful there. Let's just skip to here. Just jump here, go to the top, and then go down a bit and jump. Okay, this outside, if you fail it, you're probably going to fall down to 9, if not like 4, so don't fail. Like that. Or like that. Okay, for this jump, do it in first person. And then I would honestly not recommend going to this corner, because I feel like you're just at risk of like just inconsistent ladder physics. In fact, I actually did get ladder dropped on this outside once. It was very sad. You might hit your head here when doing this wrap, but you'll probably be fine. So, well, can I get an example of me hitting my head, please? Like that. You'll be fine now. This outside section right here is my personal best. 12 outside. I don't, like, it's kind of sad because once you get past 12 outside, this inside is a full of safety now. But I just don't think I can continue with this citadel. It's just like too painful for me. I honestly think if you're like horrific or unreal skill, this citadel's not that hard because the raw gameplay is like mostly like terrifying. For this jump, I would recommend going backwards like this at an angle and then flicking like that. Jumps that require strats here. This jump is the jump that I failed. What I did is I went like this, and then that's exactly what I did. I was too far out, and then I bounced off like that. Just do it like a normal wrap, honestly, so you don't do what I did. Jump off of this ball facing forwards, otherwise you'll probably end up failing it. I mean, not necessarily, but like, I feel like it's more consistent to jump up and falls forwards. Be careful. However, if you do run into this wall, you can easily catch yourself, so it's not that big of a deal. This gameplay is all really easy. For this conveyor, I would not recommend jumping onto it like that. I would rather recommend walking onto it and jumping. I find that's more consistent. Okay. So no, you're supposed to go over here and do the rest of this gameplay, but you can just like hold W and just skip the end of the outside. However, I'll go ahead and show the rest of the outside. It's not that hard anyways. The only jump you can physically fail is just this one. However, if you don't suck at conveyors, you should be fine. This is all netted. Let's see, which of these jumps actually requires strats? Don't try to like flick off of here, otherwise there's a good chance it'll hit your head. It's better to flick off like the corner. Don't worry about failing unless if you're near these insta-kills, in which case you could definitely get screwed. Just make sure that you don't hit your head on for this one, I guess. The start of this floor is pretty simple. The only strat, I guess, is like for this part, just hit your back against this wall. Like, just don't jump, just like walk off, hit your back, and then go forwards. And then jump with downwards momentum. And then for this part, it may look like a soft lock, but you can just high jump your way back up. However, you could die, so be careful. I do think high jumps are more consistent on low FPS, so if you fall, lower your FPS. This jump right here, climb down a bit, and then just jump and hold shift. Or not hold shift. Hold, whatever. These are insta-kills, don't die. Okay, now, something that actually got fixed because of my request as well. This insta-kill got hollowed out because this dropper is actually so tall, you would clip through these 10 studs and hit this insta-kill. But it got hollowed out, so that doesn't happen anymore. Odds are you probably won't die, even if you just stand still here. Just avoid these insta-kills, and then, let's see. This jump right here, jump like this, and then turn and unshift lock. Let's see, this is definitely failable. Just want to go and avoid, make sure that you avoid this wall as best you can. This jump, the truss is really high, so make sure that you're either like right up against the edge of this before jumping, or you can also, if you want to, you can do like a wedge climb like that to give yourself more height. Either way works, but just be careful, because there is no safety net on this dropper. Unlike in EToH XL's dropper, there is no net. And also, there's no button progress that lets you skip the dropper either, so once you get past the dropper, you better hope you don't fail 14 through 16, otherwise you gotta redo the dropper. Let's see, this is all pretty easy. Don't make the mistake of not realizing that this is a wedge and trying to jump up here, because you can definitely just get RNG'd by getting like a bad jump or something and then miss the truss. Just jump over here, do that, and you're all set. This truss has traps, there's 3 of them. Just don't fall for them. And then you get to do the dropper. Don't miss the truss. Definitely a few failable jumps here. You can can just skip that pit hitter. That is farther than it looks. This truss is also a trap. Let's see. This is a one stud ladder, so definitely make sure you don't miss it. For this jump, I would recommend turning to this side and then doing the flick. Otherwise, it's a lot more precise. In fact, I know it's possible, but like, it's way harder, so don't try to do that. Just turn here, flick. Don't try to jump to the truss like this either, that would be stupid. Don't do that either. Look before you jump. It's better to take like twice as long on this citadel by like taking your time on the jumps than it is to rush and fail something stupid. Okay, this jump, really hard. The best strat though, you're gonna want to jump backwards like this. That's the best strat. Or you don't want to do that jump at all, just skip it like that. Really up to you. I was personally going to skip that jump if I made it there, but that here, you can just do a ledge grab like that. Similarly to what we did on that one jump on 11. Even though there is a kip right there, it's getting glide faults. This is all just really simple purism. For this jump, make sure you don't climb too high on the ladder, otherwise you'll hit your head. Just make sure that you, again, don't hit your head. And then this conveyor jump's really easy. Don't miss the ladder. Once you're this far into the dropper, like, definitely do not rush, because failing here would be devastating. Now I will say though, for most of the dropper, if you fall past like floor 3, odds are you'll probably be able to catch yourself on something. Unless if you're in the dropper part, like way out here, in which case there's nothing below you. There's a few jumps on this part that you definitely have to watch out for. Like, this is a buffed 7x1 wraparound. However, you can either A, do a ledge grab strat, because this is again glide false kill brick, or you can just do an 11 set high jump. Either way, these jumps are filler except for this one. My strat is to go like right here, turn at about this angle, and then just jump with shift. Okay, maybe not that far out, like right here. And there's actually a wall right here that blocks the first stud, so make sure you don't turn too fast. Okay, yeah, that's all filler. Now we're on the red floors. This is probably, in terms of raw gameplay, floor 14 is the hardest floor. However, it's really short, so I wouldn't say it's as hard as floor 5. Nor is it as punishing as floor 5 either. I mean, okay, it is pretty punishing, because if you fail, you have to redo the entire dropper. Honestly, none of these jumps, this is the first jump I would say that has a strat, do a ledge grab, and then do that helps a lot. Don't try to wrap around this side, it's like impossible. This jump, I honestly don't know what to say. Like my best strategy is just to do it wide and just hope you don't get caught on the lodge there. This is a really hard camera control wrap. Just set it up like this, turn really sharply, and make sure that you turn. These are ladders, so you can get ladder drops. Be careful. If you're comfortable with it, I would recommend getting on the corner of that ladder to make that jump easier. Same with this one. However, make sure you don't fall off. Like if your hands are shaking, definitely be careful. This jump, doesn't really matter how high you jump from. Okay, actually it does. Make sure you're at least like... Okay, actually no, just jump from as high as you can. I don't know what I'm saying. This is a 1.5 step gap, so make sure that you turn all the way. Okay, floor 15. Not as hard as 14, but it's still pretty hard. This is another 1.5 step gap, so make sure you don't not turn enough or turn too much. Turn your FPS down and then do upwards momentum jump right there. Speaking of FPS, in case you couldn't tell by like the 12.5 step non-climbable floor 9, keep this citadel on high FPS, like bare minimum 120. Do not be too on low FPS, you will regret it. You can just jump off of that truss. Yeah, for this jump, I'd recommend jumping in first, E, and then hold W into that part of the truss. For this jump, I would recommend landing like this. Not going here. And then for this jump, you can either do it like that, or if you feel like you might overshoot it, you can also do a bottom flip. This is an insta-kill, be careful. It does look a little sketchy because you kind of like go up a little bit. Just treat it like a normal wrap around. It'll work. And this is the final floor. It's like the shortest floor in the whole tower, but also the most nerve-wracking. For this jump, do a ledge grab. Makes it way better. You can lodge here. It's honestly not that hard of a jump. You don't need to. Honestly, the less complex of strats you have, probably the better for this floor, because you're going to be nervous. I would recommend jumping to this third one, because you have the best chance of catching yourself right here. This truss jump is harder than it looks, don't underestimate it. And then this is a fake truss, so don't do some shit like this. You will absolutely hate yourself if you do. Okay. This is an insta-kill, so you cannot skip the final stretch here. And this is an insta-kill too, so don't fail. The first 3 jumps of this part are pretty easy. But then the creators of the Citadel thought, haha, 11 stud non-climbable. The best strat, just do the dance clip strat like that, where you just set up as far as you can, and then you do a slash E dance 2, and then once you're like as far over as you can get, jump with D, and then after you jump, hit shift, and then once you get to the other side, flick on. It's a surprisingly consistent strat. Now if you can't learn that, you can just wing it and hope for the best, but considering it's insta-kill, I would put as much effort into stratting the jump as possible. And then the final jump is a 12.5 stud climbable jump, so you should not fail it. And then you win. I hope the strats in this video helped. I really hope somebody does beat the Citadel, because as much as I hated playing it, I do really think that this is a cool Citadel.